Hi, AfterBuzzers. Jillian Leff here, sitting with Romeo, aka Corbin Bleu, from Romeo and Juliet: Love is a Battlefield. Nice to finally sit down with you.
Same here.
I've got to sit in on rehearsal, and I have to say, you do Romeo justice, and Pat Benatar.
And Pat Benatar, thank you for that. And don't forget Tina Turner.
Oh, yeah.
We got some Tina Turner in this show,
Yeah,
too.
a sprinkle of Tina.
Sprinkle. little pepper.
So for those of the viewers that haven't seen Romeo and Juliet: Love is a Battlefield yet, can you tell them a little bit about the show?
Well, first of all, everybody knows Romeo and Juliet. If you don't, you really need to come see this show. But for those who do know Romeo and Juliet, this is a completely different take on it. I mean, we're incorporating Pat Benatar and Tina Turner music into the story, which amazingly goes perfectly with the story. I came into this show as a fan first. I'm one of the newbies, and it really is such a beautiful take on Romeo and Juliet. Very raw, very modern. It's meant to feel like we're in almost a post-apocalyptic kind of a time. Very army and dark and strong and powerful. And it's really a beautiful show.
You've had about a week to learn all this stuff. Has the cast embraced you? Because they're very close.
The cast is very close, which I gotta tell you, that was one thing going into it, to see that they really organically came together, and I think that's why this show is done so well, because they all connect with each other on and off the stage. I felt very embraced going into it from the beginning. Everybody, I mean, would pull you in and bring you in close and say things like, "Welcome to the battle, fam. You have no idea what you're in for. This family is going to take over you and your life." And it's like, wow, this is very powerful. So I've been loving it. I've been enjoying it. I've been embracing it. And just like with any piece of theater, you form bonds for life.
So I want to take you back a little bit. When was the first time you read Romeo and Juliet?
High school.
High school. What were first impressions?
I mean, even though it was the first time actually reading Romeo and Juliet page, cover to cover, I knew the story of Romeo and Juliet. First impressions, I've always been a hopeless romantic anyway. I've always loved love and romance and just all of that cutesy, annoying stuff. And this show, though, had also such a wonderful dark side to it. And I think that's what makes Romeo and Juliet so beautiful, is that it's not just your sappy love story. It's love to the point of death. And that's cool in my book.
Well, speaking of matters of the heart, obviously the iconic balcony scene sticks out to me. Mm-hmm. Have you ever done a grand gesture for love like Romeo has with Juliet?
Well, my engagement was one.
Tell us about it, please.
So my proposal to my fiance Sasha, which is so crazy. It was at Disney World, and it was in front of the castle. I had made it up to look like we had to do some press for the park. So there was a tripod, there was cameras. It was the middle of the night. We're on the lawn in front of the castle. We're the only ones there. And we start taking pictures. I actually get mic'd up with a lav because we're going to do like an interview. And one of my good friends, Greg Bell, comes up and he brings a glass slipper. And he says, "Oh, because you guys are in front of the castle, you guys got to take a picture with Cinderella's slipper." And I'm like, "Oh, perfect." So I grabbed the slipper and I turned around. I was like, "I should pretend like I'm putting it on you for the picture." So I got on my knee to go to put it on her. And then I turned the slipper around. The ring was in the slipper. And I went into my whole little speech, which I had planned and went out the window because just in the moment we were so nervous. But everything I ended up saying just came from the heart, which ended up being better anyway. And she says yes. We stand up, we start kissing, and then the fireworks go off. Plan this. It's a lot of work. And then we actually stayed in the castle that night. So I told you, I'm all for the big grand gestures and the romance and the love.
Gosh, and he's glowing, sitting here, super happy. Well,
Yes.
I'm thrilled for you. Jeez, I need to tell my boyfriend he needs to step it up. You've obviously done so much since High School Musical. What was your first role on camera that you got paid for? Like,
my
do you
God.
remember thinking way back
I
when?
was 2 years old. I come from a family of entertainers, so I grew up in the business. I started back in New York. I grew up in Brooklyn, and I think my first gig was a commercial. I started off in commercials and print work as well. I was a Ford model. I know one of my first print jobs was like for like an anti-itch cream, and it was like a picture of me with a net catching like bugs and saying, "Mommy, I don't itch anymore." That was the tagline. So it's always been, I've grown up in it. It's been my life, and I worked off Broadway when I was 6 at a show called Tiny Tim is Dead. This really like depressing play. So it's just been a part of my life. I always love it. So anytime I get a chance to return to the stage, and then in a venue like this, that's so immersive and so cool, and in a cast like this that's giving every single night. I mean, they've been giving up to this point with the rehearsals, so I can't imagine what it's going to actually be like in the time, because when they're giving that much in rehearsals, I can only imagine what it's going to be like when the time comes.
Well, you guys have a sold-out show, so is it going to be crazy to be performing in the middle of everyone?
Yeah, I have no idea what to expect for that. Because I've done theater in the round before, but the stage is in the middle of the theater. I did Godspell at the Circle in the Square Theater, and obviously the audience is situated all around you, so you don't actually have to move and weave your way around people with this arena where like actually there are people who are going to be drinking, and then they're going to get up and maybe go to the bathroom and then come sit down and maybe move their chair a different way. So when I thought it was here in one scene, it's going to be in a different place in another scene, and you have to maneuver. And I think the most important part is just being very aware and being safe. If anything, it makes it for a very fun show, because we have no idea what we're going to get into. Hopefully I don't knock somebody's drink over or kick them in the head.
Make for a good story.
Yeah, this is true.
So I've been asking everyone this, but I kind of want to know your elevator pitch for the show. Why should people come out and see Romeo and Juliet, Love is a Battlefield?
Well, if you love Romeo and Juliet, you're going to love this even more, because it's rocked out. If you haven't seen Romeo and Juliet before, you got to come, because we will make a fan out of you yet. And for anybody that's just a music lover, a theater lover in general, this show incorporates everything. It's heart-wrenching. It is beautiful. It is energetic. And at the end of the day, you get to be as close as we are right now to the cast members. So you're going to see their sweat. You're going to see those tears, and you're going to feel that love. So come on down.
Well, that sounds good to me.
Pretty good?
Yeah, I'll come tonight. Yeah.
All right.
There we go. All right, guys. Corbin, thank you so much for sitting down with us. And guys, make sure you head over to the Rockwell to see the show. It's going to be great.